Hey, hope everybody's doing well tonight. Um, I have very little to say. My long haul symptoms have gotten worse. So the fatigue and the stupidity. Oh, some people don't like hearing me say that. So the impaired mental function's gotten worse. And this is the time of year where bipolar should be working for me, not against me. And there have been no unusual outside stressors. So this is absolutely just long haul COVID symptoms. But it feels like my brain's being eaten away by the nothing. And I have an amazingly large amount of fatigue, especially for this time of year. And because of that, I really don't have much even to say about it, but I'll give that much of a check in on how I'm doing. And I'm just going to read something Asa wrote. Oh, I hope you sleep well, James. Nice of you to stop in and say hi. I really appreciate the prayers, and I hope you're doing well. All right, so yeah, to read something Asa wrote. It's called Correspondence with the Child of Wonder. Romeo to the Child of Wonder. Dearest friend, let us pretend for a moment that this game is still worthy of your attention. Since you are still a child and since you still have a lightness to your step and a lightness in your heart, which is riveted and gripped by all of life's wonder, of course, this game will still hold your attention. Children love to play games, as do I. So I will not even attempt to ask such childish questions, as if such questions were even needed to be asked or answered. Let us pretend that out of all of the games you have played thus far, there will be one game you have yet to play, and this one would be the most challenging of them all. So challenging, in fact, that it might actually play you. Let us pretend that within this game, all of life's most unexpected and unwelcomed occurrences, all of the horror and derisions in which you will struggle to understand, all of the ever changing conflict in which you will not be able to alleviate nor remedy, all of this world wearied struggle in which you will harbor within. Let us imagine that all of this could be magically displaced from yourself and made into a vintage toy. Something like a semi-posable action figure that is molded from a typed cast metal, rubber, and plastic. Let us pretend that they have removable head and arm attachments with projectile wrists, and that they will be fashioned in the likeness of small forest-dwelling creatures, such as chipmunks, red squirrels, groundhogs, and raccoons. Let us pretend that one semi-deranged, semi-posable action figure that is fashioned in the likeness of a chipmunk will approach you with an offering. He'll hold up a shining acorn, clutching it as if his life depended on it, clutching it close to his hairy chest, clutching and holding on to it like a miracle, like the return of a lost friend, like the return of their shared love and rekindled warmth, clutching it like someone who is granted a clean slate or a second chance, clutching it like he was not yet a prisoner of his future or past, clutching it like someone who has not yet been cheated by life, clutching it with an unyielding reverence as if it was a magical talisman that would grant you the kind of power to endure and surmount any kind of difficulty. I'll hold out this shining acorn to you and confront you with an unknowable burden that you will not yet be equipped to understand nor recognize, but in time will become acutely inseparable from. With his wild, wavering eyes, he'll say to the child of wonder, "There's a place you'll find yourself one day, which lies beyond the yard and beyond the fringes, beyond any bearable threshold of one's tolerance, beyond where such a place holds no magic or vitality or hope or warmth or wonder. It is here, beyond these outer limits, that the mind becomes so dangerously untenable and so dangerously alone with itself, like a wildfire, a shining smooth surface of a sharpened blade, reflecting all that was once pristine and beautiful, ready to cut into you, like a slow, calculated death, like a burning furnace one is thrown into. You must promise me you'll hold on to this shining acorn. Promise that you'll hold on to it under the luminous glow of love, for this love won't last forever. What was once so vital and familiar, what was once so certain and revered, what was once so distinct and inviting, has now become wholly obscured and wholly unrecognizable. And with this love in which you can no longer recognize within yourself or others, so too may it cast its shadow. And under the luminous glow of this shadow, so too will the world's motives cast its own shadow, until they too become wholly obscured and wholly unrecognizable, where it then may force your reason to reflect upon this horror. And through the horror of love's shadow, so too can your reason cast its own shadow, where it may become wholly obscured and wholly unrecognizable. And under the luminous glow of this horror, where the love of the world and the love of self becomes wholly obscured and wholly unrecognizable, so too can the shadow of your reason become a horror unto yourself. You must promise me that you won't let the luminous glow of your wonder become a shadow onto yourself. I've been pressed upon and gripped with this conviction that it won't. You still have the wonder in your eye, and for as long as you have this and the love which engenders it, I know you won't let it go. This presses upon me so urgently. Promise and tell me that this shining acorn is in fact a real acorn, that it looks anatomically correct in both size and shape and function. You must tell me with great zest and veneration. You must tell me with absolute certainty and with the current wonder that still holds you. You must tell me 100 times over that what I have cupped within my hand is the very acorn that will save us from this awful fate. It must have its utility, but it must serve a function which goes beyond all utility. It must give us the courage to carry us through life and beyond it. For if it doesn't, it would mean that its appearance would be wholly deceiving and wholly cruel. I would be seized and reprimanded with this cruelty. You must promise me that you'll hold on to this until the end of your days. Promise me that you won't allow the brevity of chance and circumstance to take the wonder away from you like it has done to me. I am at war with myself, and I tire of this war. I am at war with myself, and I tire of this heart, which has become wholly obscured and wholly unrecognizable. I am at war with myself, and I tire of all the desperate imaginings that is the result of this confusion. I'm at war with myself, and I'm tired of seeing those in need for connection, yet being unable to connect to the heart of themselves or to the heart of others. I'm at war with myself, and I'm tired of seeing those get caught within the crossfire of this war. Look at my ravaged tail. Look at the patches of my fur missing. Look at the long, jagged scar running down my leg. Look at the bits of my ear taken out. Look at the hollowed eyes where the light of the soul used to shine. Look at the permanent limp I have in my gait. If this doesn't bear any resemblance to an acorn, what good would my promise be? You mustn't lose this, for enclosed within the hard, leathery outer shell lies the kernel of your sanity. If you lose this, there's no way you'll thrive out in the yard, let alone beyond the fringes. Does it not look it? Does it not feel it? So very small that one can easily lose it on an accidental whim. One could lose it in a light scuffle, or when one is missing, or when one missteps in the wrong place and glances down at their watch at the most inopportune time. One could lose it anywhere, at any time. When something like this happens, when one is not in step with time, one could easily lose their way. One could lose their balance. One could step into oncoming traffic and lose their mind. When this happens, when the pendulum of your fortune stops, and the only thing that time will afford you is the mad uncertainty of timelessness, this is a kernel of thought one must have in mind. For it's the only sane thought one must have, and such a thought fills with great immensity. If you lose this acorn, the loss would be unimaginable. Cost would be your life, but much worse. You would lose the very flux of life which moves through you. You wouldn't want to lose this at the price of an acorn. Tell me, friend. Tell me you'll hold on to this and cherish it, and promise me that you'll never mix this acorn with the other acorns. Promise me you'll never do such a thing. Promise you'll never crack this nut open, for the luminous glow of my sanity is in there, and we mustn't allow it to be exposed to the harshness of this world. We mustn't allow it to be at the mercy of the elements. His wild, wavering eyes, clutching onto the acorn of sanity that he declares is both this child's and of his own, holding it out, declaring it with absolute certainty, believing that once you have this acorn within your possession, you'll finally be able to see the divine order of all things. You'll finally be able to discern a walnut from a macadamia nut, whether with or without its shell, whether if it's dry roasted or oil roasted, whether if it's salted or sugared, spiced or plain, packaged or loose. Holding it out, waiting for you to make an approach, expecting you to come and feed from his deranged hand, for only the reasonably sound and sane would feed from the stammering hand of a chipmunk. Come, dear friend, up, up. Come and sift through the various nuts. Bury your nose in it. Come and ingratiate yourself. Find the acorn. Don't be afraid. Up, up. This fearful panic is a terrible burden to hold. When you get as old and as wary as this semi-deranged chipmunk, you'll come to realize that there will be many more burdens to be had than there will be many more games to be played. One can create a lifetime of games with how foolishly one can play with their many burdens. This is not a game I would wish to burden you with. It is the heavy, senseless burden of living, and the burden of this game has become so great. You do not yet feel the weight of it, so come to me, friend. Come gently and swiftly. Come with wonder. Up, up. Find the great shining acorn of your sanity. I'm insane, and I fear one day you too will become insane. All the rodents are so gravely unhinged here, so gravely out of control, so gravely at odds with one another, and all have grown accustomed to such inconveniences. Nebula and Mother Abigail know. They know that the luminous glow of madness is as real and as tangible as this acorn. Do you not feel it? Do you not sense it? Up, up. I'm insane, and I fear one day you too will become insane. All these half animal, half man human mutants, all these grotesque looking rodents draped in their fine linen loincloths, with their semi muscular builds, with their plastic pecs protruding ever so delicately under the acute harshness of the moon, as if it's their way where they can silently get my attention, as if it's their way they can silently sit on the border between the yard and the fringes, where they can posture themselves with a mad, unwavering prowessness. I can see their plastic nipples are pointed sternly towards my direction. I can see that they want to charge me for my acorn. This is not company I would like to keep. Little monkey and scruffy nose. They know that life is like a dog that would love nothing more than to hunt them down. They know that this dog of life would love nothing more than to track their scent and to chase them around the family farmhouse. I know they want to charge me. There's only one sane acorn left, and all these mad animals are all vying for its attention. I'm insane, and I fear one day you too will become insane. Come to me and feed from my hand, dear child. Up, up. The woodpecker and red squirrels know. They know the warped possibilities, for evil are infinitely varied and infinitely subtle, and they keep this knowledge to themselves so that they can use it to their advantage over the chipmunks and wild turkeys. This is the great burden of knowing. Unfortunately, Nebula and Mother Abigail do not know, but their time will come soon enough. Please, dear friend, up, up. Come and eat this acorn from my nervous hand. I'm insane, and I fear one day you too will become insane. I fear that you will become just as unrecognizable to me, like I've become unrecognizable to the wavering gaze of my madness. Come quickly, before the red squirrels will steal it and take it up into a tree. Come quickly and urgently, so the great towering presence of Silverback comes and thrashes me about again. Silverback is another terribly unwelcome burden, and the saddest thing about Silverback is that he actually believes himself to be sane, even when he makes his towering presence known by grinding his teeth, even when he slowly eyes me up and down as he stuffs his fat cheeks with more bird seed and peanuts. Silverback truly believes himself to be sane, but I can see through this. I can see how hard he tries to feign his sanity. He could put on the greatest show of his life, the show of madness, to outwardly appear as if he's sane. He can even try to finesse me with this, put on a show, but he cannot finesse me with this put on madness. He's in charge around these parts, but he's not sane around these parts. And the only territory Silverback cannot claim is the one that lies within. So when he sees me holding on to my acorn and charges me for it, and can say that it was the shadow of his madness that was in charge of him. Silverback also loves to play games, as children love to play games. Silverback loves to burden me with his many games, for I've become the plaything of his many burdens. Hurry, dear child, before my projectile wrists misfire and shoot off into a nearby eddy. I'm insane, and I fear one day you too will become insane. Eat this acorn from my hand before the moths and weevils lay its larva inside of it. Eat it before you can start to see the little pin-sized holes appear. Eat it before you start to see it twitch and rock back and forth. Eat it before it grows a pair of legs and gets down on all fours and crawls away. Would you want the kernel of your sanity to crawl away? Would you want it to be consumed by the gesticulating larva of the fluttering moth, or a beetle that it's known for its elongated snout? Up, up. I'm insane, and I fear one day you too will become insane. I'm losing patience with you. I may not be in charge around here, but you better not press me or I will charge you. Make no mistake, I will charge. And I'll do it before Silverback charges me again. And I'll do it before the red squirrel charges Silverback. And I'll charge you before the turkey lets out a sharp explosion explosion of air from his wild and wavering air sac. Don't let me charge you. For I'm insane, and I fear one day you too will become insane. Up, up, or I will charge. Up, up, or I will beat my hairy chest with a wild fury and scatter this bird seed into the wind. Up, up, for the great towering presence of this groundhog is summoned forth from her hole. Come forth, Dee. Come out of the immeasurable depths. Wake up from your eternal slumber. You have been summoned. It is because of her that the winter of my madness is eternal and forever lasting. It is because of her that when she gazes upon the shadow of my madness, that is when I'll know that it shall be prolonged for yet another winter, for yet another countless number of winters, for the unseeable future, and perhaps into the next millennium. And I am eternally grateful for this. I'm eternally grateful to Dee for giving me this burgeoning madness that I must contend with all day, every day. This madness that will follow me like my shadow until the ends of my days. God bless this groundhog. God bless Groundhog's Day. God bless the wild, wavering soul that is jolted out of its body. God bless the moon and stars that shot out from their orbs. God bless the interminate length of time I have left on this earth. God bless this ever narrow, winding, and harrowing path that shall frighten me out of my wits. God bless the electricity that shall shock my soul back into its body, giving me a brief moment of clarity. God bless the impenetrable feeling of summer, which shall bend the flower of my soul towards the direction of all living things. God bless the divine ordinance of timing, which brought forth our bodies so that our souls may connect on the same axis. God bless the maddening gaze of this eternal winter for once again shocking my soul out from its body. God bless and Godspeed. Godspeed to the removable plastic head that shall shoot off like a bottle rocket. Godspeed to the disorienting array of white sparks that shall pour forth in an aftermath of losing this head. Godspeed to the two oversized rubber teeth that shall melt along with the eyes, nose, ears, and mouth. Godspeed to all the parts of self that shall swirl and blend into one large, unrecognizable, faceless mass. Godspeed to the luminous glow of the fireflies that shall accompany me in this flight of darkness. Godspeed to this wild and wavering turbulence that shall once again frighten me out of my wits. Godspeed to all the fates that are to be scattered into the directionless wind. Godspeed to this groundhog for looking towards the eastern star and watching the fiery comet of my head explode across the sky. Godspeed to this groundhog for watching my head collide back down to the earth of my despair. Godspeed to the moon and stars that shall be electrified by this madness. Godspeed to this maddening love that shall strike me down like a bolt of lightning, cutting through the harrowing trunk of a tree to possess me like a lunatic. Godspeed to this lunatic love that I shall boldly emblazon and wield like a lightning rod. Godspeed and God bless, lunatic love to all. Godspeed and God bless to the wonder in all madness. For there is madness in this kind of wonder. Most importantly, Godspeed the great towering presence of Dee to which I am eternally indebted to. And for this I shall give you the only thing that meant anything to me. Shall bestow to you the great shining acorn of my sanity. You must promise me that you'll cup this little acorn between your filthy little rodent claws and take it deep into your hole. And once down there, where no light shines, you'll hold it out to your young and hold it over their hungry stomachs. And tell them that this acorn once belonged to a lunatic from up above. You'll tell them that this acorn is in pristine mint condition. You'll tell them that it's a rare find, a true collector's item that will only accumulate value over time. We'll then divide it into 7 portions and feed it to them, so that when they come of age, they too can have 1/7 of the sanity that is needed to survive anywhere. So one day they too can grow to appreciate their own shadow that will follow them until the end of their days. Godspeed and God bless. Lunatic love to all. Dear child, you're not going to get what you want. All that time and effort you put into cutting out all those acorn man packaging points only to receive the wrong toy. All that time and effort gone to waste. I'm sorry, but you're not going to get the toy you requested for. Please forgive me. You're not going to get Mr. Happy Chipmunk Man. You will still receive your exclusive mail away action figures, though, and you will still have to wait a very long time until they arrive at your doorstep. And when they do arrive, you may argue with the falcon who delivered your mail. You may argue with him as he flaps his wings and screams. And you may argue with this bird as to why Mr. Happy Chipmunk Man has gone missing. And you may argue with him until he begins to peck at you. What truly makes this a remarkable situation, though, is the toy that was delivered in its place. The strange anomalies, the mistakes and slight variations in the package. Added to that was the fact that it was the completely wrong model, placed in the wrong box. This truly is a rare find, and it may be worth more than the standard issue toy that you originally requested for. I'm sorry, but you're not going to get what you want. Mr. Happy Chipmunk Man is forever lost in that eternal void of mad timelessness. I know this upsets you. I know you would like to charge me for it, but make no mistake. If you charge me, I will not back down. We will lock into a ball, and we will roll around forever in this ball of madness until you back down and submit. So please, take care and forgive. Be sure to play with your new toy called Super Unhinged Wombat Man. He's battery operated and breaks down routinely, so make do. Godspeed and God bless. Lunatic love to all. Now, I must interject. Romeo must tell you this semi-posable action figure that is fashioned in the likeness of a chipmunk wasn't always this unhinged. He used to be just like you. He also had a name, and his name was Scatter. You may ask, since you still have a child's wonder, Romeo, why does Scatter behave the way he does and think the way he thinks? Why does he believe that one's sanity is contained in an acorn? Why does he believe that his madness was caused by a groundhog who looked upon his shadow? Was as the guardian and overlooker of the yard. I can tell you that I've seen many things, and this was Scatter's story. And what happened to Scatter just happened. Since you've never left the safety of the yard, you may ponder these things with wonder. Just as one would ponder the distinct hues of a flower, be it a common flower or an orchid. Everyone has a story, and every story should be preserved. You too have a story. And if one day you lose sight of yours, if one day you lose the plot, and if one day you lose the wonder of all storytelling, I promise I will hold on to it and preserve it and protect it like I have protected you within the safety of this yard. Your story will be heard, and those with willing ears in which I will tell, they too may sit and listen with wonder. May this future revelation come to you. May it come most unexpectedly through the wind of the trees. May this future revelation reveal to you the mysteries of all wonder, so that in time a new seed may be planted within the heart of the soul, where a new tree of a new revelation may grow. May it come most unexpectedly. May it cast its new light upon the shadow of this old world. And when it arrives, may this current revelation extend and lower its branches, so that it may bestow upon me the wonder of your grace, so that it may restore the luminous glow of this lost love. May all that was lost be restored. May all that is restored be loved. And may all that is loved be preserved. Godspeed and God bless. Lunatic love to all. Thanks for writing, Lisa. I'm not sure if you're here. I don't see you in the chat. I am too mentally worn out to read the chat and respond to anything. Yeah, and long hauls, unexplored territory. I have no idea if this is permanent or will continue to get worse or if I'm going to get better. So I have no idea if I'm going to be of any use in the future. But even though I didn't make it to an hour, I'm going to wrap this up for tonight. My brain's exhausted from reading. Yeah. So God bless and Godspeed. Lunatic love to all.